Hey, pack leaders, thank you so much for being part of this group. The very first thing I want to handle is what is money? They never really taught us this when we were growing up, and we kind of think that, hey, the conventional, uh, you got you gotta go work and get a job to in order to make money. And then when you do that, after a while, you're like, hey, you know what? This isn't really working out because you get the job, you get taxed 30%, and you work overtime and you get taxed 40%, and you're like, dude, why am I getting penalized to work harder and work more? And then on top of that, you're like, dude, now now I'm trying to pay off this mortgage that has interest on it. On top of that, the school loans which you kind of signed up for. And then something happened and you're like, hey, you know what? Why is the gas prices going up so I can go to work? And you're like, dude, I don't have much at the end of the day. Like, what's going on here? So there's all these forces that's going on that we don't really realize, and we just kind of like, well, what do we do? We just kind of like, you know, trying to learn, figure things out. Maybe you got to start a business or whatever. I don't know. And then as you do business, the more you make, the more expenses go up, and then you try to do everything yourself, and you get burnt out. And so there's like, there's this combination out there. Someone's doing it, right? So anyways, after a while of learning, going through the business route, and like, hey, now I need to learn sales. And on top of that, hey, maybe I need to outsource. I gotta split this thing into teams and whatnot. I was like, dude, how am I gonna hire someone? Like, so there's another thing there. It just seems it gets harder and harder and harder, right? And then one day I was like, the Uber driver and Lyft driver, and I was like, hey, you know what? Why am I having so much money problems? Maybe I don't know what money is, right? So I kind of used YouTube, like, what is money? And I came across, I think it was first Mike Maloney. He wrote this book called Golden Silver. I'm gonna link it to you below. And he's right now at the time he only had like 8 series, but now he's up to 10. So I'm gonna have him explain what money is, 'cause he does a really good job with it and animating everything. Um, but just to give you the gist, it's basically fake and printed out of thin air, backed by nothing. And the more they print, the more it takes away from our purchasing power. And so that means the more we have to work to get the same thing because the price increases. Okay, so now you have to do work more hours to get more dollars. On top of that, getting taxed more to chase after something that's a higher price, right? So you can see there's no one in the sight. And so in order to get it, you have to do what? You have to charge and get a credit card. And guess what? There's gonna be interest on top of that. So you see there's just kind of like a downhill slope here, and it just doesn't work out. And on top of that, I'm gonna link fractional reserve banking, which is also explained. It kind of re-emphasizes it, but furthermore, it talks about the grand picture of it all, the economic hitman, which we kind of use the dollar to weaponize it and use it to enslave other countries. And if they don't use it, then we have to assume certain things to in a sense, corrupt their leader. And if they don't want to take it, then we kind of assassinate them basically. And if we can't assassinate them, then we send the army in and say, hey, we're going to assume that you have weapons of mass destruction or you're trying to get the nuke and all this other stuff. And then uh, and then just try to sell a war in a sense, and then we send the army in and then actually take them out. Okay, then we take the oil anyway. Okay, and I think there's gonna be a way where if they can basically control all the oil, you basically can have global domination because you can't wage war without oil. Your war machines is fueled by oil, and so you don't have that, then it's a resource war. It's like who can hold out the longest and who has the most resources to win, right? So if you can starve them out, then that's easier to go rather than go head on, brute force and whatnot. Okay, setting bombs and guns and whatever. So anyways, it talks about all that. That's just a quick summary, but definitely go down and watch those videos below, just to kind of help you with the perspective of where we're at now. Um, once that is done, sorry, once that is done, then it kind of gives you a better perspective of what's important in life. Is it, you know, working these long hours trying to chase after these dollars, or your family, or spending time with your kids and maybe do an activity with them, kind of thing. So it kind of helps you change the way you make money, basically, and not really be scared about how you make money. And so nowadays, making money is a little different now. Let me just cancel this. Looks like close it out. Google's listening in to me. So, anyways, um, and they probably are NSA, all that stuff. I'm sure you hear the Snowden and all that stuff, but it is what it is, and everyone knows about it in a sense, but you don't. I'm kind of part of that to kind of enlighten you a little bit. Now, with that, um, once you listen to the video, then I'm going to show you ways to make money, but they're a little unconventional in a sense, but it has to be because money isn't conventional anymore, all right? So why work and trade your time for money when they can print more than you can ever save, and you can never catch up in a sense. So in order to kind of keep up with it, you're gonna have to basically create your own bank. You know, like all the bankers are making all this money, so why not be the bank, right? So I'm gonna show you how to do that, and then ways to invest, and ways to outsource and leverage that dollar to help build your business up. Okay, so thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this. But the bright side is that there's another movie called Hero, which I'll kind of wrap it around, kind of put closure to all this, is that, this started way before we were born. It's a powerful force that, nothing that we can do and stop because it was set in place many years ago, right before we were born. But the whole point of it is to globalize and unify, I think. Okay. Now think about it. In the movie Hero, the emperor was trying to unify China. Okay. And when he was trying to unify China, everyone thought that he was a brutal uh, king who massacred and killed people and destroyed families and all this other stuff. But he had a bigger vision inside that was to unify China. And within unifying China, there's going to have to be war. There's going to have to be people die who people resist, and he's going to have to go in and do all that stuff. And there was these assassins that were able to kind of nick him in the neck. Like he was able to, they got close to him. But out of wisdom, they're like, as soon as I take out this emperor, China's gonna fall back into little factions all over again, and then someone's gonna try to globally dominate and and unify China or whatever, or just take over and fight each other all over again. And we've already been through this. I don't want to restart this all over again. So let's just he's gotten so far anyway. Let's just let him unify China, right? And they kind of just put the thing all under heaven. But in the English translation, they kind of, I don't know, they messed up the translation. Okay. I don't know why they changed it, but instead of all in the heavens, I forget what it was called. But anyways, I'm gonna link that to you, but just remember when it says, you know, that word is actually all under heaven, I guess. So yeah, you know, is there anything, I mean, maybe you agree, you might not agree, but what can you do about it, right? Why don't you run for president? Why don't you lead? Why don't you make the decisions? If you're not going to do that, then zip it, right? And or get on video and do your own perspective, your own movement, and if not, right? So that's the thing about opinions and criticisms. If you got them, act on it, just make it happen and make a change. Otherwise, we just have to go with it. Okay. All right. So thanks for watching and check out the videos below.